Hey friends, welcome back. I'm LlamaMamaKayla, and I sure do appreciate you stopping by for a visit today. So my last Vlogtober video was Saturday, and we were headed to my parents' house, and I was taking that sunflower blanket to my mom. Excuse me. So I also I went in there and found another blanket I had made and took to my dad. Because actually he had gallbladder surgery like on Tuesday, and then I'm not sure what day he got out of the hospital, but they were both, not that great, not doing so great. So anyway, I took them the blankets and I gave him his first, and he loved it. And my mom said, "Is that for him to look at or for him to have?" I said, "Oh, it's his. It's for him to keep." And they sit out on the sun in the sunroom, and so I thought they could use their blankets out there, and so he probably would. And then, then I got her bag and gave it to her and said, "This is for you." And she opened it up and she loved it. She was like, she kept saying, "How did you do sunflowers?" But she loved it, and she loved it. And she's not going to use that blanket. I gave it to her for the purpose of her to use the blanket, just to throw over her lap and legs and all, because a lot of times she sits out there in her gown, and she could just put that blanket over her legs and all to keep warm. She's not going to use it. She had him to go spread it out and put it on the back of the couch in the living room. So she's not going to use the blanket. But I was trying to tell her, you can put that over in your lap and it'll keep your legs warm while you're sitting out here. And she's like, "Oh, it's too pretty to use." But I really want her to use it. So we did that. We stayed over there and visited them for a little bit. And actually, my brother had got my dad from the hospital and took him home. So his truck was still at the hospital. So when we left, we gave him a ride to the hospital so he could get his truck and take it back home. And then Big Daddy and I went to Dollar Tree since we were in that town. You know how every Dollar Tree has different stuff. And so, although I can't convince my husband of that, he thinks they all have the same stuff, but they don't. And so we went over to that Dollar Tree, and I don't know if I found anything. I can't remember what I got. He got a bunch of snacks. I don't know that I think I got some balloons. I needed some balloons for something. So I did get some balloons, and I'm trying to think what else I got. Might have been a Christmas item. Seems like I got something Christmassy. A sign or something, maybe? I'm not sure. I can't remember. And I did take that bag and put it in the den in a box with some other Christmas stuff that I'm collecting. But anyway, so then we came home, and Big Daddy fixed something to eat, and I tried to eat a little bite of it, and I was not successful. This is what happened. I was throwing up like crazy, just throw it up, throw it up, throw it up. I know, I did it to myself, but I'm hungry. I want to eat. I miss eating. A liquid diet going through your feeding tube is not satisfying. So sometimes I can get fish down because fish like just flakes up. It flakes off, and it doesn't like, what am I trying to say? It just breaks into little pieces, and it's easier to swallow. Now, whereas chicken or beef, it stays a clump. I mean, you chew it up, but it doesn't break up in tiny little pieces. Like fish just flakes off. So sometimes I've been able to eat some fish. But anyway, that wasn't one of the times. I was in there throwing up, and I was throwing up and throwing up, just crazy throwing up. And I guess Django is just going to bark. So I'm going to have to pause this. So I'm sitting there throwing up, and Big Daddy had finished eating, and he came through and said, "What do you need? What do you need me to do?" And I said, "Get me a washcloth." So he went into the bathroom and got a washcloth and turned to the sink and turned the water on. The knob broke off of the sink and water was shooting to the ceiling and just everywhere. Water was just spewing up. And he's screaming, "Help me, help me." I'm sitting there with my little garbage can throwing up, like, you know, actively throwing up. And he's hollering, "Help me." And I'm like, "Help me." and so he's like, "Come here, I need you to hold this so I can go cut the water off." And I'm like, "I'm throwing up." And he's like, "You got to throw up in here." So I get my garbage can and I take it in there, and he's like, he hands me the knob and says, "Hold this on there." It was so funny. I mean, it was really comical. So I take the handle and I put it on the spout and I'm just holding it there. Water's not shooting up anymore. It's shooting out towards the shower curtain and it's just spraying. I mean, the bathroom floor, the water is just rising, okay? The bathroom floor is covered in water. Everything in there is covered in water. The walls, the mirror, the shower curtain's definitely getting soaked because I'm just holding that on there and water is just shooting straight out towards it. And water is just everywhere. And so I'm holding the knob on here, holding my garbage can, throwing up, and laughing on the inside at the same time. I don't think I've ever thrown up and laughed at the same time, but it was just so funny. So he goes to the laundry room and gets his pliers or whatever you call them, and then goes outside to turn the water off outside, out next to the road at the water meter. There's a thing to turn the water off. So he goes out there and the water meter thing is down in the ground. You have to take the cover off, and so he got down there on the ground and turned the water off, but then he couldn't get back up. But thankfully the water had stopped at that point, but it took him a long time to come back in. And I was like, "What was you doing?" He's like, "I was trying to get up." We're a mess. I mean, seriously. So that was rough. So then we had to go get a new bathroom sink water faucet. And so I liked the one I had. It was silver and had white knobs, and it looked kind of old-timey-ish, I guess. I liked that one, but I couldn't find one like that. I wanted something similar to it, but we didn't have it. So we ended up getting like a bronzy color, a kind of a muted bronzy color. It's not bright. And it has big not knobs, but big one-handle things on each side. So it works. It looks nice. So that's what we did. And then we, cleaned up water, and then oh, it was so funny. I mean, at the moment, maybe not, but yes, it was funny. I was laughing the whole time. And then we spent Sunday trying to clean house some because we had just a mess from that and just everything else. We had a little bit of a mess. So I was getting some of my fall stuff out, kind of decorating for fall and such, and I wanted to share a couple of those items with you, and I might over the next, few days or whatever. But this is a little bear I had made. It's a loom knit bear that I made before I learned how to crochet. I was determined I was going to make stuff loom knitting, and so I just kind of made stuff up. So it's a little pumpkin with a teddy bear head and arms. So, yep, that was my loom knit. I made this a couple years ago. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. And another loom knit object before I figured out how to crochet is this fall banner, a wall hanging. And actually, this was a crochet pattern from Terry at Yarn Joy Podcast. She had made up this wall banner crochet. It was crochet. So I asked her, did she mind if I gave it a try to loom knit it? And she said no, she would love to see that loom knitted. And so this is what I came up with based off of her crochet pattern. And so I just think it turned out cute. I really like it. So anyway, let me just lay those to the side. Okay, so in my video this morning, I shared, it was the Adventures of video. I shared in that video Angelica Smellers and Big Daddy's sitting across from me over there and he's laughing at me. Angelica Smellers and Kayla. So I want to tell you a little bit more about these two. So this is my best friend Angela, and this is me. And so when we were little, like in elementary school, we called each other. She called me Kayla, and I called her Angelica Smellers. So that's where these names came from. And so I put that video up today, and I waited all day for Angela to watch that video and call me. And so when she called, I said, Angela's watched YouTube, and then I answered the phone, and she hadn't watched YouTube because she had been at the vet all day with her dog. Thankfully, her dog is fine, but I told her that I thought you had watched YouTube, and she said no. She's like, I'll turn it on now, and so she turned it on and was watching it, and yeah, the first part of that video is kind of boring, and then when I held up and said Angelica Smellers, she started screaming and laughing so hard, and she said, I'm about to pee myself, I'm laughing so hard. So, and then she said, you know, they kind of do look like us when we were young, because I was always dark complected, and I had really dark brown black hair, and Angela had long blonde hair. So, and she's not dark complected. So anyway, she said they do look like us. And so then we were talking about all our adventures and stuff. She's like, oh, and you got to do this and you got to do that. And oh, what about this? I was like, yep, I'm already planning that. So a lot of times Angela and I will sit around and we'll tell my boys stories of things we did when we were kids. I mean, we did some crazy stuff, okay? And so it's time that, I share those adventures here and just make these little memories, someone else's story, stories for people. So anyway, I plan to have lots of fun with this, and Angela didn't know I was going to do this, and so she just thought it was crazy wild. And so, yeah, we have a lot of things that we're going to be sharing with these. I just wanted to share that with y'all, that this is, their adventures are based on true stories that me and my best friend Angela did. And we've been friends since the 4th grade, and we're now 50 years old, and so there's lots of stories there. So that's the scoop with Angelica Smellers and Kayla. Alright, so onto the crochet. I made one square. I should have made more, but I only got one done. I was too busy doing other stuff. So I'm going to add that to my pile of squares. And my blanket. Alright, I'll be honest, I did not work on my blanket Sunday at all. I worked on it while I was at my mother's house on Saturday, and I didn't work on it at all yesterday. So, but it is getting so large, so skipping today is not going to hurt it. I'm trying to see where, okay, here it is. I have a ball attached to it because my hand got to hurting, so I stopped crocheting, but I did crochet on it for a good bit. So, this is where I stopped with the green. I added the orange, that orange, and it's kind of a, maybe a burnt orange. It's not bright. It's kind of a darkish orange. So I added that in. Oh, let's see. That orange, did it go all the way around? I can't remember. The green looks like it has went all the way. Okay, no, there wasn't any orange on this side. So I think I tied into the orange here. I need to cut those strings. And let me just show you how big it is now. This is going to be a big blanket. So it's pretty big. Ah! Peekaboo. So this is my blanket, and I love it. And it's getting so big. It's going to be a nice size blanket. Big Daddy just came home from work, and that's why I had to stop the video, because the dog started barking. So he came in, and there's a wingback chair sitting in the corner of the dining room over here. So he sat down here to watch me finish making this video. So he's laughing at me, making fun of me. But that's okay. I make fun of him too. Tomorrow is our anniversary, and we will, if we make it till tomorrow, if we make it till tomorrow about 7:30, we will have been married 31 years. So I'm expecting some kind of award or something tomorrow. Right, Daddy? Oh, Big Daddy. I don't know. But anyway, that's my blanket, and I'm going to go crochet on this some tonight and get the rest of that green, and I think I'm going to add maybe some white and blue next, I think. I got those little balls out. So here's my, oh, you can't really see it too much, but right there is where I'm getting my scrap balls from, and I just put some colors in there. I had some cakes to begin with, and I cut those up, and then I added in some more colors of my scrap balls that I thought would kind of go with, you know, this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to crochet on this tonight and make at least one more square. So I will see you all again soon. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for stopping by. And if you hadn't subscribed, feel free to do so. Bye, guys.